Welcome to Scale Her Up, the show for female business owners and leaders who want to grow profitable, sustainable businesses without burning out. I'm Dr. Brenda Hector, a business growth specialist helping women develop themselves and their businesses so they can achieve their goals and enjoy the lifestyle they dream of. In each episode, you'll hear inspiring stories, honest conversations, and practical strategies to help you start, grow, or scale your business. If you're new here, hit follow so you don't miss an episode, and come and join our Scale Her Up Facebook community to keep the conversation going. And today in conversation, I've got Gaynor Duthie from Genoa Black. Gaynor, thank you so much for joining me on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So let's start with, usually we start with the business. Tell us about Genoa Black. What is it that the organisation does?
Yeah, of course. Genoa Black is a strategy, brand and marketing consultancy built around those three core divisions. So our strategy division works with business leaders looking to bring clarity to direction, growth, decision-making. Our brand division, it shapes positioning, messaging, identity and creative that expresses what makes a business different. And our marketing division then develops the strategies, campaigns, content and comms that turn that sort of brand thinking into actionable plans that reach the right audience. So 3 core divisions all making up driving businesses forward.
And so what type of businesses are your customers then?
So it's a real range. And when I say that, I mean it in the truest sense. So ranging across lots of different sectors. We have worked with, through various different frameworks as well, over 1,000 SMEs in Scotland alone. So we really have touched every sort of industry there. And then geographically as well, we work with, today as an example, we've got a team in LA and we've got a team here in Edinburgh, we've got a team in Glasgow. So we really work all over from a geographical point of view as well. We've always worked within the B2B space. That was our kind of core bread and butter from when we founded ourselves back in 2013. But in the last 5 years, particularly since we brought another new business partner on board, we've really grown into the more B2C space as well, focusing on luxury hospitality. So that's given the team some nice experiences and some exciting projects to work on from that side of thing as well.
Okay, that's an interesting addition to a B2B offering. What was the decision in making that jump?
So to be honest, it's on the basis of team experience. We are a partnership, and so there's a number of business partners, and that allows us to bring in interesting talent. And obviously, when they've been in the industry for quite a while, they bring a client portfolio with them as well. It was our creative director partner that joined us who had a real wealth of luxury hospitality business experience, luxury tourism, and some really nice sort of clients that he'd worked with in the past. So that's where that fit came in. It was difficult for us when they first came on board to articulate how does that all fit with the B2B mix. But ultimately, I think it's really interesting how you can take learnings from different sectors and apply them elsewhere, whether that's from hospitality to construction, professional services, through to manufacturing. It brings interesting conversations and interesting ways to challenge other clients' thinking.
I like it. So when a new client comes to you, do you work through all 3 of those, the strategy, brand and marketing, or do you sometimes is it just one of the 3 that they're looking for?
Yeah, it can be a real mix, to be honest. Often there's just one of them as an entry point. We've got a lot of retained client relationships that now work across all 3 divisions of the business. We didn't set out with those full 3 divisions. It's grown organically based on client needs. So when we started back in 2013, we very much were just a marketing consultancy. Naturally, brand comes in with that as well. So that was the next area that we added to our offerings. And actually, the strategy one came out of our response to COVID, because for a lot of companies, marketing budgets were the first to go, and we had to pivot. But actually, our clients recognised that ultimately, what was core to all of what we do is problem solving. So we were their trusted advisors and brought in to support on more strategic challenges. And as a result, we have therefore then resourced that area of the business with more management consultants that can support clients with ongoing strategy now moving forwards.
So I guess I'm making an assumption here, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but they maybe come to you because they think they need marketing, but actually what they need is branding or strategy.
Yeah, some clients know exactly what they want and come with a really clear brief. But I think because of a lot of the companies we work with are SMEs and they maybe don't have marketing experience, for example, in-house, you're right. It is actually a really different starting point they need. And more often than not, if they don't have that brand clarity of proposition, clarity of identity, and that real differentiator in their market and ability to tell their story, there's no point starting with going straight into marketing. So we can take them on that journey, explain that to them. And it's an exciting one often for them because it allows them to look and reflect on their business, who they are, what makes them different, challenges them quite often to think a bit differently about their business. And then we can take them on that journey through to marketing. Because it's definitely, we would never work or jump straight in on a marketing brief if we weren't clear and comfortable on that brand, because ultimately we're not going to be able to deliver value for a client. It's not the right thing for them to do. So it wouldn't be right for us to just charge on with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me about your role then at Genoa Black.
So my role, I'm currently managing partner at Genoa Black. Along the journey, I've been here since basically day 3, I think it was, of the company. So I've done, with the exception probably of any of the designers, wouldn't claim to do that, although I have been known to try my hand at Microsoft Publisher back in the day. I've almost done every role in the company, but now my role as managing partner is to lead the business. I look after and manage the strategy director and creative director who are leading those respective divisions. And then I myself also lead the marketing division. A bit of a hybrid role in that sense, leading the business, managing the other divisions, and then leading the marketing division too. So look, never a dull day and spinning lots of plates at one time, but it's exciting and it allows me to look outward, but then also look inward with the team.
So I'm just trying to get the understanding of how it was founded. You said you've been there since about day 3. So does that make you one of the founders, or were you hired by the founders? How was it? How did it come about?
It was not a traditional start to the business. Essentially, it was a startup in the truest sense, out of a sort of home office at the time. So I started on a sort of shared understanding that there would be an opportunity for equity if I was prepared to work for nothing in the first instance. So that's where it really all started. Started on that sort of basis. Then within just a couple of months, the business was starting to gain traction. I was then an employee for a couple of months before we then converted to that partnership model where I was given equity and became a partner of the business in 2014.
So you took a job working for nothing?
I did.
That what you just told me? Yeah. That's an interesting start.
Yeah, I was in a lucky position whereby I'd previously been working over in Australia and then working with a charity in Africa. So I'd literally just moved straight back to Scotland, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I thought that this was an interesting opportunity when I didn't really have that many other responsibilities to give it a bash, nothing to lose. And if it didn't work out, I could look for something else. But if it did, then it could potentially be a really interesting route and one that I was definitely keen to pursue had it not even been for that opportunity. Yeah, I thought, let's go for it. And yeah, here we are.
Almost 30 years later, yes.
Yeah, it's turned out really well.
Yeah. So how have you had to change over those 13 years then?
Yeah, so I think it's been a really interesting journey because I've grown up with the business. I think one of the best pieces of advice I was ever given by somebody that worked within the business with me was, don't do the job you've got, do the job you want, which was always the one above higher. I've always been very ambitious. I've always been wanting to push to that next stage. So I always, as soon as she told me that, it just clicked in my head and I was like, okay, let's go for it and let's just think. So I spent my time looking and seeing watching what those people more senior to me were doing in the business at the time, how they acted, how they conducted themselves with clients, how they thought and approached briefs, project delivery, everything, how they managed people internally. I really just looked to see, both internally within our business, but then also more externally at other people in other companies, even my clients, to see what do I need to do and try and figure out how to get to the next stage. So I guess I probably always approached everything in that mindset. And I just gradually worked my way up through the different roles in the company. I took my first director role in 2017, I think it was, as client services director. So that gave me a really interesting opportunity to shape how we service clients. Client service is one of the things that I'm hugely passionate about and is just non-negotiable for me in our sector and in our industry. I was allowed to shape what that looked like for the next phase of our business and then manage the whole delivery team at that time based on delivering that to that service level. So that was a great opportunity for me to step into that role. And just from there, I moved into the deputy managing partner role, subsequently 6 months later, managing partner. So it was quite a quick progression throughout the roles of the business. I was lucky that I came in at a time so that I grew with the business. And I think SMEs at that sort of interesting growth rate, you're learning, you're having to adapt and learn more skills maybe than you would when you're in a larger organization. So
Yes.
whereas I was maybe responsible for a lot more areas than I would have been somewhere elsewhere, that allowed me the opportunity to see all these different parts of the business, how they worked, how they operated, and grow with that. I could definitely came in at the right time to be able to get that opportunity, but it's been really interesting, and I've had to throw myself in at the deep end, but that's what I enjoy. And yeah, just being, sometimes it's good to be a bit uncomfortable and pushing yourself to learn.
Absolutely. Yeah, you don't grow in your comfort zone. Not at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's been uncomfortable? What have been the challenges that you've faced?
I think there's those challenges that we have no control over, and that's those, and then the really challenging economic situations we've had to deal with. But you really just have to think there's nothing we can do about those, that we have to move forward. So I think the other things that make me uncomfortable has always been, doesn't make me uncomfortable, but I've been more of the challenging points is around people and finding the right people and people management. I've had to manage a lot of people older than me throughout the journey, which I haven't minded that much. Some of them maybe have, but it's always been a different dynamic and an interesting one. And one of the other founding partners once said to me, you can't always be everyone's friend. And I think that's difficult because it doesn't sit necessarily with my personality type, because I want everyone to be friends, but actually in business, that's just not realistic, as we all know. So when it's come to making difficult decisions, or when we've had maybe challenging people, conflicts between other individuals within the team that we've had to manage, they're probably the times that I found it most difficult, because I'm only human, but at the same time, I am a people pleaser. So it's really the people situations that I've probably found the most challenging.
So what would be your top tip else that's finding that difficult?
Oh, gosh. Listening to people, I think, definitely. Find out all the different sides to the story, and make sure everybody feels heard in terms of dealing with individuals. But ultimately, you've got to put the business first. And I think that's probably the challenging part, particularly when you build friendships up over time within a company as well. But the way I think about it is, if you're putting the business first, that's the majority of the team, because my job is to be the custodian of the company, and to lead it in the right direction. So ultimately, if I'm putting the business first, I'm protecting the team. And that's what I keep reminding myself during situations and times like that. But I think as long as you've listened, you've shown empathy, but ultimately you'll have more credibility with the wider team if you're seen to be making the right decision for the business, no matter how hard it might be.
Brilliant. Yeah, really good reflection there. Thank you. Thank you. It can be lonely being at the top of the business. It comes up in a lot of these conversations. Who's been your biggest supporter on your journey?
Probably my dad.
Uh-huh.
He led a business for a significant period of time as well. So I think he understands that it can be lonely, that frustrations, and I think you always need a peer to be able to speak to as well. So I have a number of friends as well that are business leaders. My best friend also owns a chain of really successful beauty salons. So she understands, particularly probably more on the people side of things, but having peers, I think, in a support network is something that's really important, both from a sort of family understanding point of view, but then also from a peer-to-peer going through it day to day in today's challenging business economy and everything, that all the new challenges that are presented to us on a daily basis.
Do you run decisions by them? Do you ask about, have you ever had this problem? Is that the kind of thing that you're...
I probably use them more as a sounding board.
Yeah.
I like, if you ask them, they'd probably say I talk at them, and maybe get the decision sometimes myself. But I do certainly, if there's really challenging things, I'd say, what would you do in that situation? And likewise, they do to me as well. And we've had really good decisions, because I think it's fresh thinking, and applying thinking that's happening in different businesses as well is refreshing, because that's one of our core selling points to others, is we can see something from the outside. So I think that's quite powerful in terms of somebody that doesn't necessarily understand your business. And I guess it plays to a degree into coaching culture, but someone coming from outside and really just being there listening. And sometimes even them just saying to you, so what do you think you should do? And I go, oh, I've thought about it. And now that we've spoken it and I've talked it out, I feel like reaching a more natural decision or a natural or get myself some more clarity on exactly where we should be going.
Having to explain it to someone who doesn't have any preconceptions or maybe doesn't understand why you do something that way can be enough to get it making sense in your head, isn't it?
Yeah. Sometimes it just clicks.
Yeah.
And you feel a bit more confident when you then move into the decision making.
Yeah. Yeah. But how big is the team now?
The team right now, we have 14 people in the business.
Okay.
Pretty evenly split across strategy, marketing, and brand. And we've grown and fluctuated, I would say, between sort of 12 to 15 quite a few times. And it's an interesting phase because I get asked a lot, are you trying to grow the team? And if you'd asked me that just before COVID, I would have said, yes, absolutely. Ask me it now, it's about how we can be more efficient and more profitable. So I've definitely changed mindset in terms of what growth looks like for the business. So yeah, 14 people, sort of long-winded answer to your question, but yeah, 14 people, and we will look to grow, but how that is, we're still looking to try and figure that out.
Okay. So yeah, so growth's not necessarily about people. Sometimes it's about pounds.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think because we talk about helping businesses grow, but I think growth can mean so many different things, and it means different things to different people. It can be growth in your culture, which could be around employee retention, employee performance. It could be around your operations, so efficiency, profitability from a commercial point of view. There's lots of different definitions of it. And I think with things like AI and development in technology, that allows businesses to challenge themselves to think, how do we want to grow? Is there different ways to do what we're trying to do from a growth perspective? It doesn't just need to mean headcount, which I think, particularly for our industry, which traditionally has just been selling time, is one that poses a really interesting question to us. And so that's one that we are reflecting on from a sort of senior and board level right now in terms of how we grow the next step, and how we do that doesn't necessarily have to mean headcount. Might mean some, but is there other ways in which we can think about it?
I'm just thinking that I've got a question now that I'm going to have to start asking everyone. I don't know why I've not been asking it, but yeah. Are you embracing AI, or are you fearful of AI, or how's AI fitting within Genoa Black at the moment?
Yeah, we're absolutely embracing AI. It's a really interesting conversation. I have it with a lot of people, as you can imagine.
Me too.
Yeah, AI is really interesting. I think we're embracing it. We're not relying on it. And I think anybody that is relying on it is posing a risk in that sense. I think what's really important when it comes to AI, and we talk about it, invite it to every conversation or every discussion. See how it could help, see how it could assist, see how it could support. But as I say, don't rely on it. It's really interesting in our industry because it's a difficult one, and don't get me wrong, there's really mixed views across our business on it. Particularly, I think it's a really interesting one around the creative and brand division, because things like brand design, origination of new designs, development and messaging, content, you see it when you go on LinkedIn now. You see there's a huge amount of resistance towards AI. And I can totally understand where that comes from. People have spent years and years honing their craft, developing their talent, and people who are exceptionally talented individuals are seeing their skills being displaced by people saying, I'll just use AI. So I can understand why that's incredibly tough for them. But I think what I'm encouraging the team to do is don't see it as displacing you or replacing you, rather. See it as a support tool and see how you can use it, because it is useful. It can drive efficiencies. We've seen that. It can enhance thinking. It can challenge you. It can look to reframe situations or different things for you, but it does not replace the sort of expertise that we might have at those 1,000 companies we've worked with, what we've seen from business leaders. And it also, I keep saying to people, don't forget about emotional intelligence. It's just as important as artificial intelligence, because it's understanding the nuances of who you're talking to. It's being able to read a situation. You really need to think about what's the emotion involved in any of this before to be truly effective in whatever it is you're delivering. So I think that's a really important consideration for people, how the two marry up.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. Good reflections there. I'm definitely going to ask that to everybody now. Such a topical piece. So
It really is.
important. Yeah. So do you think you were always going to be a business leader? Do you think it was in your path, or is it just that you've been in the right place at the right time?
Yeah, I think certainly if you ask my parents, I'd never liked being told what to do. So I think that's the biggest thing for me. I've always been, it's, I love working with people. And I think I find it fascinating, the different people you come across. I definitely like to be the leader in a group. That's always been the case throughout school, university, even in friend groups. I always make the arrangements. So I do definitely like to lead. It's definitely a key thing about my personality. But I also like building relationships, connections, and seeing how you can help people. So some of my greatest achievements are around people that I've worked with that have developed alongside me. It's certainly not about just where I can get to. It's about how many people can come along on that journey and where they can all get to as well. So yes, always wanted to be a business leader, no doubt about it if you'd asked me at any stage. But I recognise that some of the best things about leadership are about being able to lead and work with other people as well.
It's a brilliant definition of leadership that you've just shared there. Yeah, that you're bringing other people along as well. Yeah.
Definitely. And I think it's really important now, particularly just reflecting back on AI. I'm really concerned that too many people will replace younger talent with AI, thinking we can just get AI to do that. But ultimately, that could cause real talent shortages or gaps in the future for businesses.
Yeah.
So we really need to think about how we embrace AI and technology, but also nurture a talent pipeline so that we're not exposed, and that everybody gets a fair chance to enter the world of work. I think people just coming out of university who hit by the COVID boom and everything like that, they've had a hard time, enough time. So it's really important we focus on bringing new talent into the industry and not letting technology replace that.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. Having watched my niece just graduate last summer and only get her first graduate role just a month or so ago. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
like stuff out there.
tough. And yeah, and she's in marketing. So yeah,
Yeah.
particularly area that's been hit. So yeah, yeah. Where else am I going with the conversation? If you could go back and meet your 18-year-old self, what advice would you give her?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would probably say learn to say no. I think the not to opportunity, I
Mhm.
think being a people pleaser has sometimes meant that I have put myself almost to the phase of burnout, and I've sacrificed my own, probably even health at times, to just try and please someone else or be available. And I mean that in the sense that I'm not meaning to be unrealistic. Business leaders are always on. That's just a fact of leading a business. You have to be available. But I think up until 2 years ago, I think I'd put one out of office on in my entire sort of 12 years, never switching off. And even if somebody asked for a holiday when I was on holiday, I said, yeah, I'll cover you from my holiday, or for example, things like that. Or wouldn't tell a client if they had an important event coming up that I was on holiday because I felt that was just not the right thing to do. So that was a real shift. Actually, after I had my son, that I just thought I just can't do that anymore because I'm going to make myself ill. So I think learning to protect your own boundaries rather than maybe than just saying no is a really important thing. But I think that's something you can only learn over time by finding out what your boundaries are. So it's maybe difficult advice to give an 18-year-old self, but I think
Yeah.
it's we're aware of them.
What do you think she would say to you?
It's probably an even harder question. This is the first time I think I've ever spoken about my journey. Probably keep going, because I like the idea that there's more to come. That's what excites me. That there is going to be more challenge, but just keep going, because resilience is something that is, I think I have been resilient throughout my journey so far. And I don't think resilience means that you just have to keep charging on. You can have moments where you have to stop, think, etc. But I think I'm definitely resilient. So yeah, I would say keep going, see where you can get to, because there's still a lot to come.
I have a photo on my desktop of my computer, the background there, and it says, I didn't come this far to only come this far.
Yeah, I like that. That
Yeah.
quote definitely resonates with me.
Yeah, just as you were talking there, that's what came to my mind. So yeah, I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. So what's next for Genoa Black then? What's the next big goal to achieve?
Yeah, so I think our next big goal is definitely international. I mentioned, I think earlier in the conversation, we've currently got a team in Los Angeles. We've now been out there 3 times this year. It's interesting. It's the 6th biggest economy, just Los Angeles itself. So it's all happening. And views on the USA aside, it gives exciting opportunities. And I think that's what's so important to retain good staff, is to make sure you're continually able to challenge them. So we can't just stick to what we're doing every day and expect them to come along that journey. We need to push our growth boundaries to push theirs, and in turn keep them excited and engaged with us. So that's the big one for us, is how can we look at more international opportunities? What else is there out there? And exploring different international markets. So that's probably the next kind of growth milestone for us, I would say.
So that I'm just going to dig into this retaining good staff by continually challenging them then. So obviously that international thing, there must be staff that are looking for that sort of those kind of steps. So is that something that you're creating for particular people, or are you creating that and then putting people in those challenging places?
Yeah, so there's definitely staff driving it, definitely people that are really excited by that. I think we are really lucky to have, we've got an incredible team, and they are continually looking to challenge themselves. I'm always having conversations with them about how they can develop. And it's something that excites a lot of them. So it's about creating those opportunities. Equally, there's some staff that aren't able to potentially do lots of international business due to their own commitments at home. So we need to make sure that we are constantly seeking out new, exciting, interesting opportunities here, back in Scotland. But we've got a really nice balance and focus, I think, right now from our business development efforts that give us that balance. And hopefully there's something for everyone. It's just about making sure that as things come in, people get the opportunity to say, yeah, I'd really like to be involved in that in the first instance. And luckily so far, we've always had hands up for all the new opportunities coming in. So that's been great.
Great. Any advice then for someone in a similar situation with their business and looking to go international? How did you go about getting that started?
Yeah, so I think it's interesting because we do a lot of international strategy work with all of the businesses we work with. And for our business, our business has been built on relationships. We get a lot of business through referral. So the most obvious route therefore for us was to go in through an existing relationship, which we had with our work with the chef Curtis Stone. We managed to get projects through that relationship. And I think once you start making connections in a marketplace and just do good work, you then start to open up further opportunities. So our approach has always very much been deliver good work, build good relationships, and then further opportunities will follow. And so we're just simply applying that on an international level now, rather than just within the Scottish and UK market.
So there's a degree of natural organic growth, but
Absolutely.
with a bit of strategy behind it. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And when we're out there, we're always splitting time between delivering the client work and then spending time to go and meet new people and create new connections, so that there's always a delivery focus, but also business development focus on any trip.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. A great tip. Thank you. We're running out of time, Gaynor. Is there anything that I should have asked you that I haven't? Anything you want to add to the conversation?
No, I don't think so. I think we've covered the key things that are important, certainly to me: people, culture, exciting opportunities, growth. That's always the things I like to talk about. It's what I'm passionate about. And hopefully, yeah, our business continues to see further success. That's really all I'm interested in, and taking the team along with me. Because as I say, I'm really proud of the team we've established now. Making sure that they're supported and they can grow alongside our business is really important. And that's the next priority step.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your time and for sharing your story. I've really enjoyed talking to you today.
No problem. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for the opportunity.
And thank you to you for listening to Scale Her Up. If you enjoyed this episode, follow the show and leave a review. It helps more female business owners find us. Come and join our Scale Her Up Facebook community to get support, accountability, and connection with other women who get it. And remember, only 1 in 3 UK entrepreneurs are female, and men are still 5 times more likely to scale their business beyond £1 million in turnover than women. When we start and scale our businesses to the same extent as men, we'll add 250 billion to the UK economy and create millions of jobs. So ladies, you can do it, and your business can make a massive difference.